You are a statistic of decay. Specifically, you are a data point in a trend of terminal absence. I am speaking to you from the year 2091. My lungs are a failing bellows, but my clarity is clinical. You believe you are building a kingdom. In reality, you are a ghost haunting your own hallway. Look at your hands. They are stained with the ink of contracts and the glow of late-night glass. You call this providing. Biology calls it a correction of absence. You are currently suffering from the invincibility glitch. It is a cognitive malfunction where you believe the present is a renewable resource. It is not. Every hour you trade for a decimal point in a bank account is an hour permanently deleted from a developing neural network. Your child's brain is currently a high-speed recording device, and right now it is recording a void. Are you working for them? Or are you hiding from the terrifying intimacy of being known by them? Answer me. Is the legacy you are building made of stone, or is it made of the silence at your dinner table? You are a biological error in motion, a high achiever with a hollow core. You are trading an infinite Tuesday for a someday that will never arrive. It was October 14th, 1989. The air in the office tasted of stale ozone and burnt coffee from a machine that hadn't been cleaned in weeks. The hum of the fluorescent lights was a steady, rhythmic torture. 682,000, that was the number. On the ledger, I remember the precise texture of the paper, thick, cream-colored, cold to the touch. I was 34, my son was 6. He had a soccer game that afternoon. The sun was hitting the glass of my corner office, casting a long, sharp shadow across the mahogany desk. I stayed. I convinced myself that the 682,000 was a shield. I thought I was buying him safety. I thought I was purchasing his respect. I was actually suffering from the inheritance illusion. I believed that financial surplus could compensate for a biological deficit. I chose the ledger over the grass. I chose the ozone over the scent of his sweat and the grass on his knees. I thought I could make it up later. That is the strategic biological mistake you are making. Right now, you think time is a line. It is actually a series of closing doors. Your child's childhood is not a state of being. It is a chemical window. Once the window of primary attachment closes, no amount of capital can pry it back open. You are working to fund a life for a person who will grow up to be a stranger to you. Your hard work is effectively a self-deletion protocol. You are an architect of your own obsolescence. To survive this, you must adopt the metacognitive habit of terminal forecasting. You must view every late night through the lens of a 95-year-old on a ventilator. You must recognize the sunk cost fallacy of your current career trajectory. The promotion you are chasing is a dopamine trap. It provides a temporary neurochemical spike while masking the permanent erosion of your domestic foundation. You are operating under status quo bias. You think that because you are providing today, you will be needed tomorrow. Biology disagrees. Attachment is a physical, tactile requirement. You cannot download a father. You cannot outsource a mother. The future you are building is a graveyard of missed Tuesdays. I can see the math of your regret from here. It is a cold, heavy sum. It is the debt you are accruing every time you choose the screen over the soul. Stop pretending this is for them. This is for your ego. This is for your fear of being ordinary. But to a child, extraordinary is simply being there. You are failing the simplest biological test of your species. You are missing, and missing is a debt that compounds at a rate you cannot afford. I am 95. I have the money. I have the legacy, and I would burn every cent of it to stand on that grass on October 14th, 1989. But I am here, and you are there. For now, the fine life, that is your primary enemy. The fine life is the comfortable, steady decline into a state of existence where everything is functional, but nothing is vital. You are currently optimizing for fine. Your children are fine. Your bank balance is fine, but fine is the anesthesia of the soul. It allows you to perform the slow-motion amputation of your legacy without feeling the blade. You believe that as long as the mortgage is paid and the tuition is secured, you are winning. This is the optimism bias at work. You are projecting a future where you reconnect once the hustle is over. But the math of human development is unforgiving. Childhood is a non-linear compounding asset. The value of a Saturday morning at age 5 is worth 10,000% more than a Saturday morning at age 25. By the time you reach the later, the asset has matured into a form you can no longer influence. You are currently short-selling the most valuable commodity in the universe, primary neural imprinting. Consider the turning point. For me, it was a Tuesday in 1994. I was sitting in a boardroom in Manhattan. The air was pressurized. The deal on the table was worth $12 million. I looked at my watch. 4:15 p.m. My daughter was performing in a play I had promised to attend. I sat in that chair. I watched the clock move with the cold precision of a guillotine. I felt a moment of cold mathematical clarity. I realized that even if I won the $12 million, the cost of acquisition was higher than the asset value. I stayed anyway. I chose the $12 million because of status quo bias. I was already a success. To leave the room would have been a loss. I was a victim of sunk cost fallacy. I had already missed so many plays that missing one more felt like a rounded-off error. But there are no rounded-off errors in the human heart. The $12 million sat in a fund. The empty seat in the third row stayed empty. In my mind, I was building for her. In her mind, I was simply not there. This is the provider's paradox. The harder you work to secure their future, the more you ensure you aren't part of it. You are a ghost in their history books. You are a name on a check, not a voice in their head. Let us analyze the erosion of the father figure. It is not a sudden collapse. It is a slow, granular displacement. Every time you answer a quick email during a bedtime story, you are signaling to their subconscious that they are a secondary priority. You are training them to seek validation elsewhere. You are teaching them that love is a conditional variable based on productivity. You are effectively installing a biological glitch in their operating system. They will grow up to be just like you, successful, wealthy, and fundamentally alone. This is the generational transmission of absence. You are a carrier of this disease. You think you are breaking the cycle of poverty. You are actually creating a cycle of relational bankruptcy. Look at the math. If you work $60 hours a week, to give them a better life, but miss the $2,000 hours of their core development, what is the net gain? It is zero. Actually, it is a negative integer. A child with a trust fund and a distant father is a high-risk biological entity. They have the resources to fund their own destruction and the lack of grounding to choose it. You are not providing. You are funding an exit, yours or theirs. The fine life is a trap. It is the velvet lining of a coffin. Stop calculating your net worth and start calculating your presence deficit. The ledger is screaming in red. Can you hear it? Or is the hum of your success too loud? Look at me, not the screen. Look at the hollowed-out shell of the success you are chasing. I am breaking the fourth wall of your delusion. You believe you have time. This is the invincibility glitch in its terminal stage. You think there will be a golden era after the retirement, after the exit, after the promotion. There is no later. There is only the entropy of connection. Every second you spend watching this, or checking your notifications, or planning your next hustle, you are hemorrhaging. The only currency that carries a fixed value. The window is closing. It isn't closing in years. It is closing in minutes. By the time a child is 12, You have already spent 75% of the total time you will ever spend with them in your entire life. You are currently fighting for the remaining 25% while pretending you haven't started yet. This is hyperbolic discounting. You are devaluing the massive, immediate reward of a child's presence for the small, distant reward of a corporate milestone. It is a biological scam, and you are the mark. To survive, you must perform a pattern interrupt. You must execute the biological correction immediately. Here is your survival framework. 1. The 18-summer rule. You have 18 summers. That is it. Count how many you have left. That is your actual net worth. 2. The dinner table protocol. The dinner table is a sacred site of neural imprinting. If you are not there, you are being replaced by an algorithm. 3. The check-in fallacy. Physical presence without mental presence is a form of abandonment. Put the device in a lead box. 4. The legacy audit. If you died tonight, would your children remember your values or just your vacations? 5. The deathbed inverse. No one in the history of our species has ever said, "I wish I spent more time at the office." Everyone says, "I wish I had been there." I remember the silence of my own house in 2025. The walls were covered in awards. The garage was full of precision engineering, and my son's voice on the phone was polite, distant, and clinical. He spoke to me like a business associate, because that is what I had trained him to do. I had traded the biological debt of presence for a financial surplus of isolation. I had won the game and lost the player. Do not be like me. The bankruptcy of the soul is a slow process that ends in a sudden, cold realization. You are standing on the edge of that realization right now. You feel that tightness in your chest? That is not stress. That is your biology screaming at you to return to the tribe. That is your evolutionary hardwiring telling you that you are failing the only mission that matters. Your career is a fiction. Your child is the only objective reality you will ever create. Stop the forecast. Stop the planning. Stop the provision. Put down the device. Walk out of the office. Drive home. Do not call ahead. Just arrive. Be the presence you are currently deleting. This is not a suggestion. This is a clinical intervention. The ledger is balanced. The forecast is clear. Go. Now, I have no more data for you. Act immediately.